Do you know that all your striving, struggling, and relentless effort are precisely what's holding you back, perpetuating lack, and keeping your dreams forever a mirage on the horizon? I know this sounds insane, but give me 10 minutes to prove that everything you've been taught about fighting for your dreams is a dangerous lie. Today, we'll explore the great paradox. The harder you try to control your life, the more you lose it. My friends, we begin our journey today by confronting the single greatest misunderstanding that plagues the heart of man and keeps the vast majority of humanity locked in a prison of frustration. From the very moment you were born, you have been conditioned by a world that worships the idol of struggle. You have been taught by your parents, your teachers, and your society that life is a battleground and that victory belongs only to those who fight the hardest, who strain the most, and who manipulate the world with sheer brute force. You have been told that if you want a result, you must exert a corresponding amount of physical and mental pressure to make it happen. You believe that the sweat of your brow is the currency of your success. But I stand here today to tell you that in the realm of consciousness, in the deep spiritual dimension where reality is actually forged, this belief is not only false, it is the very anchor that is holding you back. The great secret of life, the secret that unlocks the storehouse of infinite abundance and breaks the chains of limitation, is not found in striving. It is not found in the restless, frantic attempt to control every detail of your destiny with your conscious will. It is found in the exact opposite direction. It is found in release. It is found in the counterintuitive art of letting go. We are here to explore the great paradox of effort, which simply stated is this: the harder you try to force a result, the more you push that result away from you. To understand this, we must look at the spiritual mechanics of your own mind. There is a law governing the operation of your subconscious, which acts with the precision of gravity. It is often called the law of reversed effort. This law states that whenever there is a conflict between your will, what you are trying to do, and your imagination, what you fear might happen, your imagination will always win. Always. Consider the insomniac. Here is a person who desires sleep more than anything else in the world. He lies in bed and he tries to sleep. He uses every ounce of his willpower to force himself into unconsciousness. He tells himself, I must sleep, I have to sleep, I am going to sleep. But what is the result? The harder he tries, the more awake he becomes. His effort creates tension. His tension creates alertness. And his alertness pushes sleep further away. Why does this happen? It happens because the very act of trying to sleep implies a subconscious belief that he is awake. If he were truly asleep, he would not be trying to sleep. He would simply be asleep. His effort is a confession of lack. His struggle is a confirmation of the problem. And so, by the law of his own mind, he manifests more of the state of being awake. This is the tragedy of your desires. You want money, but you strive for it with anxiety, and your striving tells the universe, I am poor. You want love, but you hunt for it with desperation, and your hunting tells the universe, I am lonely. You want health, but you fight your illness with fear, and your fighting tells the universe, I am sick. You are the insomniac of your own destiny, keeping your dreams awake when you should be allowing them to rest in the certainty of fulfillment. We must go deeper into this distinction between force and power. Force is of the outer world. It is the friction of muscle against rock. Power is of the inner world. It is the silent command of the spirit. When you use effort, you are operating from the premise that you and your desire are separate. You are here, and the thing you want is over there, separated by a gap of time and space that you must cross with the burning fuel of your own energy. You believe you must build a bridge of blood, sweat, and tears to reach it. But this separation is an illusion. In the realm of imagination, there is no distance, there is no time, there is only here and now. When you exert effort to get something, you are psychologically pushing it away because you are affirming that you do not currently possess it. The subconscious mind does not hear your wish, it hears your position. It hears your frustration. It hears your strain. And it reasons, quite logically, that if you are straining to reach something, it must be out of your reach. Therefore, the more you struggle, the more the object of your desire retreats, just like a mirage on the horizon that moves back as you move forward. You are chasing your own shadow, and you are exhausted because you do not realize that the shadow is cast by your own posture of striving. Let us use the analogy of quicksand to illustrate the danger of this restless attempt to control. Imagine a man walking through a jungle who suddenly steps into a pit of quicksand. His immediate, instinctual reaction is to fight. He thrashes his arms, he kicks his legs, he screams, and he tries to climb out using sheer force. But the nature of quicksand is such that it reacts to pressure. The more force he applies, the more the sand solidifies around him and pulls him down. His effort is literally his undoing. The harder he fights to live, the faster he sinks toward death. This is a terrifying image, but it is exactly what you are doing when you fight against debt, when you fight against a bad relationship, or when you fight against a diagnosis. You are thrashing in the quicksand of circumstances. You are adding the weight of your own emotional reaction to the problem, and that weight is pulling you under. Now, what is the solution for the man in the quicksand? He must do the most counterintuitive thing imaginable. He must stop fighting. He must relax his body completely. He must lay back and spread his arms wide. By increasing his surface area and refusing to struggle, he becomes buoyant. The sand stops pulling him down, and he floats on the surface. He is saved not by his strength, but by his surrender. You must learn to float in the quicksand of your life. When a problem arises, your first instinct will be to tense up, to worry, to plan 1,000 different defenses. You must override this instinct. You must say, I will not thrash. I will not give this problem the energy of my fear. I will lay back in the assumption that I am safe, that I am provided for, and that a solution exists. When you do this, you stop the sinking. You allow the higher buoyancy of the universe to lift you. Understanding this paradox requires a re-education of your concept of action. Many people fear that letting go means becoming a vegetable, doing nothing, and sitting on the couch waiting for a miracle to drop into their lap. This is a gross misunderstanding. There is a vast difference between inspired action and forced action. Forced action is born of fear. It is the frantic activity of a person who believes that if they stop moving, they will die. It is filled with anxiety, doubt, and a heavy sense of burden. It drains you. It leaves you depleted and resentful. Inspired action, on the other hand, is born of the state of the wish fulfilled. When you have truly accepted your desire in your imagination, when you have truly relaxed into the knowing that it is done, you will move, you will act. But your action will not feel like work. It will feel like play. It will feel like the natural next step. It will be effortless. Think of a musician playing a masterpiece. He is moving his hands, he is exerting energy, but he is not trying to play the notes. He has become the music. He is in a state of flow. This is the state we are aiming for. We want you to be so aligned with your end result that your actions flow from you as naturally as water flows down a hill. The water does not try to reach the ocean. It simply yields to gravity and finds the path of least resistance. You must yield to the gravity of your own fulfilled desire. This brings us to the subtle trap of holding on. We are taught to hold on to our dreams, to never let go of our goals, but there is a right way and a wrong way to hold. Consider the difference between holding a handful of fine sand in a tight clenched fist versus holding it in an open palm. If you squeeze your hand tight, trying to secure every single grain of sand, the pressure forces the sand to squirt out through the cracks between your fingers. The tighter you squeeze, the more you lose. You are trying to control the sand, but your control is destroying the very thing you want to keep. By the time you open your hand, you find it is empty. This is what happens when you micromanage your life. When you obsess over every detail, when you watch the clock, when you analyze every sign, you are squeezing the life out of your manifestation. You are introducing the vibration of constriction. Now, imagine opening your hand flat. You place the sand on your open palm and you simply hold it there, relaxed, steady, and trusting. The sand stays. It does not move. You possess it fully, yet you are not strangling it. This is the posture of faith. You hold your vision in an open palm. You know it is yours, so you do not need to crush it with your anxiety. You give it air to breathe. You give it space to grow. You say to the universe, I have this desire, I accept it, and I trust you to sustain it. This relaxation is the ultimate proof of possession. Why is relaxation so difficult for us? It is because we have equated worry with love and anxiety with responsibility. We think that if we are not worrying about our children, we do not love them. We think that if we are not stressed about our job, we are not working hard enough. We wear our stress like a badge of honor. But I tell you, worry is not love. Worry is mental malpractice. Worry is the misuse of your creative imagination. When you worry, you are effectively visualizing the worst-case scenario and investing it with the emotional energy of belief. You are using the power of God within you to create the very things you fear. Relaxation, therefore, is not just a luxury. It is a spiritual discipline. It is the deliberate withdrawal of energy from the problems of the senses and the reinvestment of that energy into the solution of the spirit. To relax in the face of conflict is an act of rebellion against the tyranny of facts. It is saying, I refuse to be moved by appearances. I stand on the bedrock of my inner conviction. When the mind is still and the body is at ease, you stop interfering with the signal. You become a clear channel. You allow the infinite intelligence that knows how to orchestrate the universe to orchestrate your life. You get out of your own way. The universe is always responding to the tone of your being. It does not care what you want. It cares who you are. And who you are is determined by your dominant feeling state. If your dominant feeling is effort, strain, and struggle, you are declaring yourself to be a person who does not have. You are declaring yourself to be a victim of circumstances who must fight to survive. The universe will agree with you and give you more battles to fight. But if your dominant feeling is ease, relief, and gratitude, you are declaring yourself to be a person who has arrived. You are declaring victory, and the universe will agree with you and give you the spoils of victory. You must realize that the battle is not out there in the world. The battle is in your own nervous system. The battle is between the urge to run around frantically and the discipline to sit still and know. The psalmist said, "Be still and know that I am God." He did not say, "Run around and panic and know that I am God." The knowing comes in the stillness. The power comes in the pause. It is in that holy instant of release where you say, "It is finished," that the pregnancy of the Spirit begins. We must also address the fear that if you stop trying, nothing will happen. This is the voice of the ego, the little self that believes it is the doer. The ego believes that it must spin the planet and make the sun rise. But the sun rises without your help. The grass grows without your straining. Your heart beats and your cells divide without your conscious supervision. There is a greater wisdom that runs the biology of your life. And that same wisdom can run the destiny of your life if you allow it. Letting go is simply the act of handing the problem over to this deeper mind. It is admitting that your conscious intellect does not have the data or the perspective to solve the problem, but your subconscious depth does. When you surrender, you are not giving up on the result. You are giving up on the limitation of your own way of getting there. You are admitting that there might be 1,000 ways for your desire to manifest that you have never thought of. When you stop forcing the one door you see, you allow the universe to open the 100 doors you didn't see. You expand the field of possibilities. You move from the rigid, brittle world of "it must happen this way" to the fluid, miraculous world of "it can happen in any way." So, how do we practically apply this paradox? You must practice the art of indifference to the how. This is not indifference to the desire itself. You must love your desire, but you must be indifferent to the mechanics of its arrival. You must reach a point of inner satisfaction where you feel that you already have it. If you already have it, you do not strive for it. You enjoy it. Practice the feeling of the Sabbath. The Sabbath is the day of rest, not because you are tired, but because the work of creation is finished. When you look at your desire and you feel that the work is done, you naturally stop trying. You stop digging. You stop begging. You enter into a state of calm expectancy. You become like a pregnant woman. She does not strive to create the baby. She trusts the process. She eats, she sleeps, she waits with joy. She knows the child is real, even though it is not yet visible to the eye. You are pregnant with your desire. Stop trying to force the birth. Trust the gestation. Trust the timing. Trust the invisible order. In conclusion of this first principle, remember that your effort is the gauge of your unbelief. The more you believe it is done, the less effort you will use. The less you believe, the more you will struggle. Your goal is to reduce the friction of your life to zero. You want to move through the world with the frictionless glide of a skater on ice. This frictionless state is achieved by assuming the end so fully that the means are taken care of. Let go of the oars. Stop rowing against the current. The river of life is moving toward the ocean of your fulfillment. If you stop fighting, the current will take you there. If you fight, you will drown in the shallow water. The choice is yours. Will you continue to be the warrior who fights for scraps, or will you become the creator who receives the kingdom? Release the tension. Open your hands. Breathe out the fear, and let the great, silent power of the universe carry you to the home that has been prepared for you since the foundation of the world. We must now turn our gaze from the struggle of the effort to the nature of the reality you are struggling against. You walk through this world believing that you are navigating a landscape of solid, independent objects and people who act on their own accord. But I tell you that you are living in a hall of mirrors. The single most profound truth you will ever encounter is that the world you see is not an objective reality standing outside of you. It is a subjective reflection projecting from within you. The ancient axiom, as within, so without, is not merely a poetic phrase to be recited. It is the scientific law of your existence. You are forever standing before the great looking glass of the universe. This mirror is flawless. It is relentless. It creates nothing on its own, but it refuses to hide anything that stands before it. If you look into the mirror of your life and you see lack, conflict, and confusion, you must understand that the mirror is innocent. It is simply showing you the shape of your own consciousness. To try to change the world before you change your concept of yourself is to struggle against the very nature of reality. It is as futile as breaking a mirror, because you do not like the face it reflects. You might shatter the glass, but you have not changed the face, and every shard of that broken glass will simply reflect the same frowning face back to you in 1,000 smaller pieces. Let us dissect this mechanism of reflection so that you may stop fighting shadows. A mirror has no power to originate. It only has the power to reflect. If you stand before a bathroom mirror with a smudge of dirt on your face, you cannot scrub the mirror to get the dirt off. You can plead with the mirror, you can yell at the mirror, you can scrub the glass until your hands bleed, but the dirt will remain because the dirt is not on the glass, it is on you. Yet, look at how the vast majority of humanity lives. They wake up in the morning, look at the mirror of their bank account, see the smudge of poverty, and they begin to attack the bank account. They work harder, they panic, they manipulate, they steal, they borrow, they are scrubbing the glass. They look at the mirror of their relationships, see the smudge of loneliness or rejection, and they try to force people to love them. They argue, they demand, they play games. They are scrubbing the glass, and then they wonder why they are exhausted and why the smudge remains. You must realize that there is no power in the reflection. The power is entirely in the originator. You are the originator. The world is the screen. If you do not like the movie playing on the screen, do not attack the screen. Go back to the projector. The projector is your state of consciousness. It is your bundle of beliefs, feelings, and assumptions. Until you change the film in the projector, the movie on the screen cannot change. It is mechanically impossible. This truth is the most liberating and the most terrifying discovery you will ever make. It is liberating because it means you are no longer a victim of circumstances. No one is doing anything to you, they are only revealing you to yourself. But it is terrifying because it strips you of the luxury of blame. You can no longer point your finger at your parents, your boss, your government, or your economy and say, they are the cause of my misery. They are not the cause. They are the actors you have hired, subconsciously, to play the parts that confirm your own expectations. If you walk through the world carrying the inner conviction that people are untrustworthy, you will magnetically draw to yourself the thief, the liar, and the cheat. They will bypass 1,000 other people to find you. Why? Because your consciousness is broadcasting a signal that says, I believe in betrayal, and the universe must find actors to confirm that belief. You are the author of the play, and the world is simply following your script. If you change the script to one of trust, honor, and kindness, the actors must either change their behavior to match your new script, or they must leave the stage to be replaced by those who will. This is the law. The mirror does not judge, it only reflects. Consider the neutrality of this law. The mirror of the universe does not care if you are a good person or a bad person in the moral sense. It cares only about what you are conscious of being. A person may be morally wonderful, kind, and generous, yet if they harbor a deep subconscious belief that they are unworthy of wealth, the mirror will faithfully reflect poverty. The mirror does not say, "Oh, you are so nice, let me give you a pass." No. It says, "You feel unworthy? Very well. Here is a situation that proves you are unworthy." This explains why so many good people suffer and why so many so-called wicked people prosper. It is not a matter of divine reward and punishment. It is a matter of state. The wicked man may assume he is powerful and untouchable, and the mirror reflects power and immunity. The good man may assume he is a victim and a martyr, and the mirror reflects victimization. You must stop trying to be good in the eyes of the world and start being true to the state of your desire. You must align your consciousness with the quality you wish to experience. If you want abundance, you must assume the feeling of abundance. You must stand before the mirror of life and smile with the inner knowing of wealth, even when the reflection is still showing you empty pockets. This is the test of the master. Can you hold the smile long enough for the reflection to catch up? This brings us to the crucial element of time in the Hall of Mirrors. In our physical dimension, there is a delay. We spoke of this briefly, but we must understand it deeply here. When you move your hand before a physical mirror, the reflection moves instantly. But the mirror of reality is dense. It is heavy. It takes time for the energy of your thought to harden into the rock of physical fact. When you change your inner state, when you decide today to assume you are wealthy, the outer world will not change instantly. For a few days, weeks, or even months, the mirror will continue to reflect your old self. It will show you the bills, the lack, and the struggle. This is where most people fail. They look at the mirror and say, "I am smiling, but the reflection is still frowning. This doesn't work." They do not understand that they are looking at a delayed broadcast. The reflection you see today is the result of who you were yesterday, last month, and last year. It is a dead image. If you react to the dead image, if you get angry at the reflection, you are frowning again. And by frowning again, you ensure that the reflection will continue to frown tomorrow. You are caught in a loop of reacting to your own past. To break this, you must learn to disregard the immediate reflection. You must walk by faith, not by sight. You must look into the mirror of your empty bank account and see a full vault. You must refuse to let the reflection dictate your expression. You hold the inner smile. You hold the inner dignity. You persist. And eventually, because the law cannot fail, the heavy machinery of the outer world will grind into motion and the reflection will shift to match the new you. Let us explore the concept that everyone is you pushed out. This is perhaps the most challenging aspect of the mirror. It means that every person you encounter is reflecting a specific aspect of your own consciousness. If you are insecure, you will meet people who criticize you. They are only externalizing your own inner self-criticism. If you are confident and loving, you will meet people who praise and adore you. They are externalizing your self-love. You think you are dealing with independent entities, but you are dealing with yourself in different costumes. If you have a difficult boss, do not try to change the boss. Go within, ask yourself, what is it in me that believes I deserve to be treated this way? What is it in me that expects tyranny? Heal that part of yourself. Revise your concept of yourself from the employee who is bullied to the employee who is respected. Have the inner conversation where your boss praises you. Feel the reality of it. When you change the inner you, the outer boss must change. I have seen this happen 1,000 times. The tyrant becomes gentle, or the tyrant is transferred to another division. The mirror must adjust. There is no one to change but self. This dissolves all conflict. You no longer need to argue with the world. You only need to adjust the signal you are broadcasting. Now, consider the power of the inner look. What you are looking at in your imagination is what you will eventually see with your physical eyes. Most people use their imagination to look at what they do not want. They replay arguments, they rehearse failures, they visualize diseases. They are standing before the mirror, making hideous faces, and then complaining that the world is ugly. The architect uses the mirror consciously. He stands tall within himself. He puts on the mental vestments of the king. He assumes the feeling of the wish fulfilled. He looks into the mirror of the future and sees himself as he desires to be. He falls in love with that image. He worships that image, and he ignores the distortion of the present moment. This is what it means to call things that are not as though they were. You are looking at the true face of your spirit, not the false mask of your circumstances. The world will try to tell you that the mask is real. It will throw facts and figures at you. It will say, look at the data. You must reply, the data is the reflection of the past. I am the creator of the future. You must become obstinate in your refusal to accept the reflection as final. The reflection is never final. It is always fluid, waiting for the next instruction from your consciousness. This understanding transforms your relationship with trust. Trust is simply the knowledge that the mirror is working, even when you cannot see the adjustment yet. Between the seed of desire and the fruit of fulfillment lies the invisible process of growth. Trust is the bridge that spans this gap. When you look in the mirror and see the old reflection, trust says, I know this is changing. I know my new face is being imprinted on the glass of time. You do not panic. You do not check it every 5 minutes. You rest in the certainty of the law. If you plant a tomato seed, you do not expect to see a tomato 5 minutes later. But you trust the nature of the seed and the soil. You know the mirror of the earth will eventually reflect the tomato. Your consciousness is the seed. The universe is the mirror. Trust the process. Do not dig up the seed to see if it is reflecting. Do not force the mirror. Relax. The one who truly lets go is the one who knows within that all is already accomplished. The reflection is inevitable. Finally, let us address the cleaning of the mirror. We often think we need to fix the world. We join causes, we fight injustices, we argue politics, thinking we are cleaning the world. But if your internal state is one of anger and judgment, you are only adding more smudge to the glass. You cannot clean the world with a dirty cloth. The only way to clean the world is to clean your own consciousness. When you clear your mind of fear, when you wash your heart of resentment, when you polish your soul with gratitude, you become a clear light. And when a clear light stands before the mirror reflects clarity. You become a center of peace in a chaotic world. You become a source of abundance in a poverty-stricken world. People will look at you and wonder why your reflection is so beautiful. They will think you are lucky. They will not know that you have simply mastered the art of the inner smile. You have realized that the world is a slave to your state. It must follow you. It has no will of its own. You are the operant power. You are the face. The world is just the glass. So, my friends, I challenge you today to conduct an experiment with this mirror. Choose one aspect of your life where the reflection is unpleasing. Is it your health, your finances, your love life? Stop trying to change it on the outside. Stop nagging. Stop worrying. Stop working yourself to death. Go within. Close your eyes and construct a new face. Construct the feeling that you already have what you want. Smile inwardly. Feel the relief of it. Walk through your day carrying this new secret image. When you pass a physical mirror, wink at yourself and remember the truth. Say to yourself, I know who I am and I know what is coming. Refuse to react to the old evidence. Keep this up. Be persistent. Hold the face. And as surely as the sun rises, you will see the reflection begin to shift. The people will change. The numbers will change. The health will change. The mirror will bow to your new command. This is the secret of the ages. You are the master of the mirror. Use it wisely, use it lovingly, and watch the world transform before your very eyes. Before we move to the wisdom of non-resistance, I invite you to make a conscious decision right now. If you are ready to stop fighting the reflection and start changing the face of your consciousness, affirm it by liking this video. It is a small act, but it signals to your mind that you are serious. And if you have not joined our community yet, subscribe to the channel. We are building a sanctuary here for those who refuse to be victims of life. Join us, and let us master these laws together. Now, let us discover why fighting your problems is the very thing keeping them alive. We arrive now at the most delicate and misunderstood aspect of the creative process, a principle that runs contrary to almost everything you have been taught by the world of Caesar. We must speak of the wisdom of non-resistance. Why is it so difficult for the human mind to let go? Why do we cling so tightly to our worries, our micromanagement, and our desperate need to control every outcome? It is because we have been conditioned to associate letting go with weakness. We have been trained to believe that surrender is synonymous with defeat, that to stop fighting is to admit failure, and that if we release our grip on the steering wheel of life, the car will inevitably crash. We treat our anxiety as if it were the glue holding our universe together. But I stand here to tell you that this is the ultimate illusion. True letting go is not an act of weakness, it is an act of supreme spiritual power. It is the wisdom of the masters. It is the recognition that there is a current in the river of life that is stronger than your arms, and that by fighting this current, you are exhausting yourself and drowning, whereas by yielding to it, you are carried to the ocean of your fulfillment. Non-resistance is the secret weapon of the architect because it removes the only obstacle standing between you and your desire, which is your own friction. Let us contemplate the physics of resistance. When you push against a wall, the wall pushes back with equal force. This is a law of nature. When you fight against a circumstance, when you wage war on your debt, when you battle your illness, or when you wrestle with a relationship, you are feeding energy into the very thing you are fighting. You are keeping it alive. Resistance affirms the reality of the obstacle. By struggling against it, you are saying, this is real, this is powerful, and this has dominion over me. You cannot destroy a problem by fighting it, for the fight itself is a form of attention, and attention is the food of existence. To let go, therefore, is to withdraw your attention from the struggle. It is to starve the problem of your emotional energy. This is not about being passive or indifferent. It is about being strategic. It is realizing that the conscious mind, with all its logic and reasoning, is too small to solve the complexities of your life. The conscious mind sees only the blockade. It sees only the lack. The deeper intelligence, the God self within you, sees the way around, the way over, and the way through. When you resist, you cut yourself off from this higher intelligence. When you surrender, you open the floodgates of infinite possibility. Consider the profound metaphor of holding sand in your hand. If you scoop up a handful of fine, dry sand and you hold it gently in an open palm, the sand rests there securely. It belongs to you. It is safe. But the moment you become afraid of losing it, the moment you tighten your grip and squeeze your fist to secure it, the sand begins to trickle through your fingers. The tighter you squeeze, the faster it escapes. You are applying force to something that requires gentleness. By the time you open your hand to check on your prize, you find that your palm is empty. You have lost the very thing you were trying so desperately to keep. This is exactly what happens with your desires. When you cling to a relationship with jealousy and control, you suffocate the love until it dies. When you cling to money with the fear of poverty, you create a vibration of scarcity that repels wealth. When you cling to health with the terror of disease, you create the tension that makes the body sick. You are squeezing the sand. The wisdom of non-resistance teaches you to open your hand. It teaches you to hold your desire with a loose grip, with the confidence of one who knows that what belongs to him cannot be lost. The open palm is the stance of faith. The clenched fist is the stance of fear. Which stance are you holding today? Letting go means you release the anxious grip of control. You no longer chase, you no longer worry, and you no longer beg for results. This transition from chasing to allowing is the pivotal moment in manifestation. It is the moment you move from the state of the seeker to the state of the finder. The seeker is always looking, the finder is always having. When you let go, you are not saying, I don't want this anymore. You are saying, I have this, so I no longer need to fight for it. This is a crucial distinction. Surrender is not resignation. Resignation says, I give up, I will never have it. Surrender says, I give up the battle because the victory is already won. It is the difference between a soldier surrendering to the enemy and a soldier laying down his sword because the war is over and he is going home. You are laying down the sword of your struggle because in the realm of imagination the war is over. You have claimed your state. You have seen the end. Now you must trust the bridge of incidents to take you there. You must trust that the seed you planted does not need you to dig it up every hour. It needs you to leave it alone. It needs the darkness of the soil and the silence of your trust. We must also address the limitations of the conscious mind in this process. Your conscious, reasoning mind is a wonderful tool for analyzing the past and navigating the physical present, but it is a terrible master of the future. The conscious mind operates on data it has already received. It looks at your history, your bank account, and your education, and it extrapolates a future based on those limitations. It tells you, you can't do this because you don't have the resources. But the deeper intelligence of life, the dimension of the spirit, operates outside of linear logic. It has access to resources your conscious mind knows nothing about. It can move people, create coincidences, and open doors that look like solid walls. When you insist on controlling exactly how your desire will manifest, you are limiting the universe to the tiny scope of your own understanding. You are telling the infinite God, you must do it my way, or not at all. And since your way is often blocked, you experience failure. Surrender is the act of stepping aside. It is admitting that you do not know the how, and realizing that you do not need to know the how. The how is the domain of the deeper self. Your job is the what. Define the end clearly, feel the reality of it, and then get out of the way. Let the wisdom that spins, the galaxies spin the threads of your life. Imagine the freedom that comes when you finally drop the burden of needing to figure it all out. The weight of constant effort, of questioning why and when, lifts from your shoulders. You move with a new lightness because you know you are supported. Instead of living in tension, you live in flow. This state of flow is the signature of non-resistance. Have you ever noticed that your best ideas come when you are in the shower, or taking a walk, or driving your car? They come when you are not trying. They come when the conscious mind is distracted and relaxed. This is because the channel is open. When you are stressed and trying to force a solution, the channel is pinched shut by your anxiety. Opportunities appear without strain when you are relaxed. Solutions arise without endless searching. What once seemed difficult begins to unfold with ease because you have stepped aside and allowed the higher wisdom to guide the way. You become a conduit for power rather than a generator of force. You are no longer pushing the boulder up the hill. You are riding the boulder down the hill. The momentum is with you. To let go is to live in trust. It is to say to the universe, I have done my part. I have imagined the end. I have felt the reality. Now I allow you to orchestrate the means. This is not a passive waiting. It is an active, expectant trust. It is the attitude of a person waiting for a package they know has been shipped. They do not pace the floor wondering if the package exists. They check the mail with anticipation. They prepare a place for the object. They live as if it is inevitable. This expectancy is the highest form of prayer. It is the prayer of thanksgiving before the bread is broken. It is the acknowledgement that the supply is already on its way. When you walk through your life with this attitude of non-resistance, you become magnetic. People are drawn to you because you are not pulling at them. Money is drawn to you because you are not chasing it. Health is drawn to you because you are not fearing illness. You become a center of peace in a chaotic world. And nature abhors a vacuum, so it rushes to fill your peace with prosperity. Consider the water metaphor again. Water is the most powerful element on earth, yet it is the most yielding. It never fights the rock. It flows around it, over it, or patiently wears it down over time. It seeks the lowest place, yet it sustains all life. It creates canyons and moves mountains not by force, but by persistence and fluidity. Be like water. When an obstacle appears in your path, do not smash into it with your ego. Do not argue. Do not get angry. Simply flow around it. Assume that this obstacle is part of the bridge. Assume that it is a detour that leads to a better road. Keep your eye on the destination, which is the ocean of your desire, and trust that gravity will take you there. This fluidity allows you to navigate the complexities of life without being broken by them. The rigid tree breaks in the storm. The bamboo bends and survives. Your resistance makes you rigid. Your surrender makes you flexible. And in flexibility, there is immense strength. Strength born not of force, but of faith. Letting go is also the ultimate act of self-love. When you worry, you are abusing your own imagination. You are terrorizing yourself with images of failure. You are flooding your body with stress hormones. You are aging yourself. You are robbing yourself of the present moment. Why do you do this? Because you think it helps. You think that if you worry enough, you will prevent the bad thing from happening. But worry does not empty tomorrow of its sorrow. It empties today of its strength. When you let go, you are being kind to yourself. You are saying, I love myself enough to trust that my life is working out. I love myself enough to give up the burden of being the general manager of the universe. You return to the present moment, which is the only place where life actually exists. In the present moment, there is usually no problem. The problem is always in the imagined future or the remembered past. By surrendering the need to control the timeline, you reclaim your joy. You reclaim your sanity. You realize that you are here to experience life, not to strangle it. So, how do you practice this wisdom in the heat of the battle? When the bill comes and there is no money, how do you not resist? You look at the fact, you acknowledge it, but you refuse to let it define your internal state. You say, this is a fact of the moment, but it is not the truth of my being. You go within, you assume the feeling of abundance, and then you release the worry. You do what you can do physically, you pay what you can, you make the call, but you do it without the emotional vibration of desperation. You act from a place of center. When the diagnosis comes, you listen to the doctor, but you do not accept the prognosis as a death sentence. You go within, you see the body whole, and you release the fear. You treat the body with love, but you do not fight the disease with hatred. You replace the image of sickness with the image of health. This subtle shift from fighting against to moving toward is the key. You are not fighting the dark, you are turning on the light. The darkness vanishes not because you beat it, but because it cannot exist in the presence of light. Non-resistance is simply the turning on of the light. Ultimately, the wisdom of non-resistance is the realization that you and your desire are one. You cannot chase what you already are. You cannot lose what is inherent to your nature. When you stop resisting, you stop separating. You merge with the state of the wish fulfilled. You become the lover, the wealthy man, the healthy woman. The gap closes, and when the gap closes, the manifestation must appear. It is law. So, my friends, open your hands, unclench your jaw, drop your shoulders, breathe out the tension of the years. Let the heavy armor of your defenses fall to the ground. You do not need it. You are protected by a power far greater than your little sword. You are guided by a wisdom far deeper than your little map. Trust the river. Let go of the branch you are clinging to on the bank. The water is safe. It is moving towards everything you have ever wanted. Surrender to the flow, and let the magnificent, effortless unfolding of your life begin. We have spoken of the philosophy of surrender and the wisdom of non-resistance, but now we must move from the theoretical to the practical. We must discuss the actual environment in which creation takes place. That environment is not the noisy, chaotic world of your daily responsibilities, nor is it the frantic, screen-filled world of modern distraction. The environment of creation is silence. To reach the core of your being, to touch the God self that resides within your imagination, you must learn the ancient and sacred art of entering the silence. In the rush of daily life, where the mind is constantly racing with thoughts, responsibilities, and anxieties, the vast majority of humanity has lost touch with the deeper essence of who they really are. They live on the circumference of the circle, spun around by the speed of events, completely unaware of the still point at the center. Beneath the noise of the traffic, beneath the noise of the news, and beneath the noise of your own compulsive thinking lies a quiet, steady presence. It is the core of your being, the self that is untouched by circumstances, the I am that exists before you take on any labels of name, job, or status. Yet, to reach it, you must learn to stop the machine. You must learn to be still. Relaxation, in this context, is not simply about resting the body or taking a nap on a Sunday afternoon. It is a deliberate, conscious, and masterful withdrawal of energy from the sensory world. It is the shutting of the door of the senses so that the inner room may be illuminated. You must understand that your physical senses are constantly bombarding you with reports from the outer world. Your eyes show you problems, your ears hear bad news, your body feels stress. As long as your attention is fixed on these sensory reports, you are a slave to the outer world. You are reacting, not creating. To enter the silence is to break the connection between your attention and your senses. It is to withdraw your life force from the skin of your body and center it deep within the skull, in the seat of imagination. Most people are terrified of this silence. Have you noticed how people cannot sit alone in a room for 5 minutes without reaching for a phone, turning on a television, or finding someone to talk to? They are afraid of the silence because in the silence, the distractions fade, and they are forced to confront their own unguided minds. They fear the void. But I tell you, the void is not empty. The void is pregnant. It is the womb of creation. It is the darkness from which the light is born. If you want to change your life, you must conquer this fear of being alone with yourself. You must cultivate a love affair with the silence. You must carve out time in your day, perhaps early in the morning or late at night, to unplug from the matrix of the world and plug into the source of your power. Let us discuss the physical aspect of this relaxation because the mind and body are linked in a feedback loop. You cannot have a still mind in a tense body. If your muscles are tight, if your jaw is clenched, if your breathing is shallow, your nervous system is signaling danger to your brain. Your brain then produces thoughts of worry and defense to match that signal. Therefore, the first step to entering the silence is the conscious relaxation of the physical frame. You must sit or lie down in a position where you are supported, where you do not have to use any effort to hold yourself up. Then, you must move your attention through your body like a warm light, commanding each muscle to let go. Start with your feet. Feel the tension draining out of them. Move to your calves, your thighs, your stomach. Release the tension in your shoulders, which is where most people carry the weight of the world. Unclench your jaw. Smooth out your forehead. You want to reach a state of such deep physical relaxation that you almost lose awareness of your body. You want to feel as though you are floating, as though the boundary between your skin and the air is dissolving. This state is what the mystics call sensory deprivation, or pratyahara. It is the withdrawal of the senses. When the body is numb and quiet, it ceases to be a distraction. It ceases to anchor you to the physical world. You are now free to move in the mental world. Once the body is still, you will face the second challenge, which is the turbulence of the mind. When you first close your eyes, you may find that your mind becomes louder. Thoughts of the past, worries about the future, songs, conversations, and random images will float to the surface like bubbles in a boiling pot. This is normal. Do not fight them. Remember the wisdom of non-resistance. If you try to fight your thoughts, if you get angry at yourself for not being quiet, you are creating noise. You are adding the noise of frustration to the noise of the mind. Instead, treat your thoughts like clouds passing across a blue sky. Watch them. Observe them. But do not engage with them. Do not invite them in for tea. Let them pass. Say to yourself, I am not this thought. I am the awareness observing this thought. As you practice this detached observation, a miracle happens. The clouds begin to thin out. The gaps between the thoughts become wider. And in those gaps you catch glimpses of the blue sky. You catch glimpses of the silence. It is in these gaps that the voice of God speaks. It is in these gaps that your intuition resides. You are moving from the active, masculine doing mode of the brain to the receptive, feminine being mode. You are preparing the soil for the seed. Consider the metaphor of a glass of muddy water. If you want the water to be clear, you cannot put your hand in the glass and try to push the dirt down. The more you stir, the muddier it gets. You must leave the glass alone. You must let it sit on the table, completely undisturbed. Given enough time and stillness, the mud will settle to the bottom of its own accord, and the water will become crystal clear. Your mind is that glass of water. Your daily life stirs up the mud of fear, doubt, and planning. Relaxation is the act of putting the glass down. It is the decision to stop stirring. As you sit in the silence, without effort, the mud of your anxieties begins to settle. The heaviness drops away. and what remains is the clear transparency of pure awareness. In this clear water, you can see the truth. You can see the solution to your problem. You can see the bridge of incidents, but you can never see it while you are stirring. This is why you often feel confused and overwhelmed when you are in the thick of a crisis. You are trying to see through mud. Step back, enter the silence, let the mud settle, and the clarity you seek will reveal itself to you effortlessly. When you relax, you step away from the strain of control. Most people believe they must fight, push, and struggle to create the life they desire. But in reality, the struggle creates more struggle. The more you tense against life, the more rigid your experience becomes. Relaxation is the opposite. It is a conscious surrender, a gentle yielding, a way of saying, I trust that life is unfolding for me. In this state, your inner being rises to the surface. The true self does not shout, it whispers. It is not discovered in the clamor of worry, but in the calm of stillness. When you relax, you give yourself permission to listen. Suddenly, intuition speaks more clearly. Ideas appear effortlessly. Solutions come not through force, but through inspiration. Have you ever noticed that the greatest geniuses, the greatest artists, and the greatest inventors all speak of receiving their ideas in moments of quiet? Einstein, Mozart, Tesla, they did not force their discoveries. They received them. They tuned their mental radio to a frequency that can only be heard when the static of the world is silenced. You have access to the same genius. You have access to the same universal library, but you cannot read the books while you are running around screaming. You must sit down. You must be quiet. You must open the book of the soul. Alignment with your true self is never about effort. It is about allowing. And allowing happens most naturally when you are at ease. Think of the stream of water we spoke of earlier. If you tense your hand and try to grasp it, the water slips away. But if you relax and cup your hand gently, it rests there without struggle. The same is true of your higher self. The more you tighten your grip through fear, control, or doubt, the more disconnected you feel. But the moment you let go, relax, and open, you find that the essence of who you are has always been flowing, steady and faithful, waiting for you to notice. This silence is not empty. It is full of presence. It is a living, breathing stillness. It is the feeling of being held by something larger than yourself. In this silence, you realize that you are not a small, isolated ego battling a hostile universe. You are a wave in the ocean of God. You are connected to everything. And because you are this realization destroys fear. Fear can only exist in separation. In the silence, separation dissolves, and therefore fear evaporates. Relaxation also restores you. It renews both body and mind, clearing away the fog of stress so that your inner clarity can shine. We live in a world of chronic exhaustion because we are constantly leaking energy through tension. We hold on to insults, we hold on to schedules, we hold on to self-image. This holding takes massive amounts of energy. When you enter the silence, you plug the leaks, you reclaim your energy. 20 minutes of deep, conscious silence is worth more than 4 hours of unconscious sleep. It resets your nervous system. It lowers your cortisol. It brings your brain waves into the alpha and theta states, which are the states of super learning and creation. You are literally healing yourself from the inside out. You are returning to the factory settings of your soul, which are peace, joy, and vitality. In the quiet, you remember that you are more than your circumstances, more than your worries, more than the fleeting conditions of life. You are an eternal being. This remembrance is the fuel that will power your manifestations. You cannot manifest a magnificent life from a depleted battery. You must charge the battery in the silence. So, how do we make this practical? I challenge you to create a sanctuary of silence in your life. It does not have to be a physical room, though that helps. It is a temple in time. Dedicate the first moments of your morning and the last moments of your evening to this practice. Do not look at your phone. Do not check the news. Sit in your chair or lie in your bed. Close your eyes. Direct your attention inward. Watch your breath. Release your muscles. And sink past the boredom. Sink past the restlessness. Sink past the thoughts. Go deeper until you hit the bedrock of peace. It may take practice. At first, You may only reach it for a few seconds, but those few seconds are enough to change the flavor of your entire day. As you persist, the silence will expand. It will begin to bleed into your active hours. You will find that you can carry a portable sanctuary of peace with you into the chaotic business meeting, into the traffic jam, into the difficult conversation. You will be in the world, but not of it. You will be the calm eye of the storm, and people will feel it. They will respond to your stability. They will trust you. Opportunities will seek you out because you are vibrating at the frequency of order and ease. Ultimately, entering the silence is the prerequisite for the final step of creation, which is the planting of the seed. You cannot plant a seed in a storm. You cannot impress a new idea upon the subconscious mind while it is agitated. The subconscious mind is like a pool of water. If the surface is choppy and turbulent, it cannot reflect the stars. You must smooth the surface first. When you are in the silence, when you are relaxed, you are in the state of amenability. You are suggestible to your own higher desires. This is the moment to drop the seed. This is the moment to visualize the wish fulfilled, not with force, but with a whisper. A whisper in a quiet canyon echoes forever. A shout in a hurricane is lost. Make your mind a quiet canyon. Enter the silence. Be still and know. Know that you are the creator. Know that the power is within you. Know that the silence is not your enemy, but your oldest and truest friend. Embrace it, and it will give you the keys to the kingdom. We arrive now at the summit of our journey, the ultimate practice that integrates every principle we have discussed into a single, transformative way of being. We have spoken of the futility of effort, the mirror of consciousness, the wisdom of non-resistance, and the power of silence. But all of these lead to one final destination, which is the art of living in the end. In the ancient mystical traditions, this state is called the Sabbath. For centuries, humanity has misunderstood the Sabbath as a day of the week, a time to cease physical labor and attend religious services. But I tell you that the Sabbath is not a day on the calendar. It is a state of consciousness. It is the psychological moment when you have so completely accepted your desire as a reality that you no longer feel the need to do anything to make it happen. You rest. You do not rest because you are lazy. You rest because the work is finished. In the creative process, the work is the imaginal act of assuming the state of the wish fulfilled. Once that assumption is fixed, once the feeling of naturalness is achieved, you enter the Sabbath. You walk through the world with the quiet, unshakable knowledge that it is done. This mental rest is the most powerful force in the universe because it signifies the absence of doubt. Doubt is the only thing that can abort a manifestation, and the Sabbath is the state where doubt cannot exist because fulfillment has already been claimed. To live in the end means to mentally position yourself at the finish line. Most people live their lives running the race, constantly looking at the finish line in the distance, hoping they will make it, worrying about the obstacles, and checking their speed. They are thinking of the end, but the master architect thinks from the end. He stands at the finish line in his imagination. He looks back at the race as something that has already been run. He feels the medal around his neck. He hears the applause. He feels the physical sensation of the breath returning to normal after the exertion. He is not running, he is celebrating. This shift in perspective is subtle, yet it changes everything. When you think of your desire, you are affirming separation. You are saying, I am here, and it is there. This creates a gap of time and space that must be traversed. But when you think from the desire, you collapse the gap. You are saying, I am here, and it is here. You merge with the reality. You must learn to occupy the state of your desire with the same naturalness that you occupy your current home. You do not walk into your own kitchen and wonder if you belong there. You do not ask permission to sit on your own couch. You just do it. You must inhabit your dream with that same sense of ownership. Let us explore the emotional texture of this state. Many people mistake living in the end for a state of high manic excitement. They think they need to walk around jumping for joy and screaming, I'm rich, to the empty air. This is not the Sabbath. This is hysteria. If you truly had millions of dollars, or if you were truly perfectly healthy, you would not be hysterical. You might be excited for a brief moment, but very quickly, that excitement would settle into a deep, profound relief. It would become your new normal. The feeling of the Sabbath is relief. It is the exhale of the soul that says, "Thank God, it is over. I made it." It is the satisfaction of a full meal. It is the security of a locked door at night. It is a quiet, steady joy that does not need to shout. When you are truly living in the end, you stop looking for signs. You stop asking, "When will it come?" Because you cannot ask for what you already have. Do you ask for your eyes? Do you ask for your name? No, you possess them. When you possess your desire in consciousness, the anxiety of the search vanishes, and it is replaced by the peace of possession. This peace is the acid test. If you are still worried, you are not in the Sabbath. If you are still strategizing how to make it happen, you are not in the Sabbath. But if you feel a stillness, a lack of urgency, and a secret smile when you think of your desire, then you have entered the rest. And in that rest, the universe is moving mountains to externalize your inner reality. This practice requires a divine form of double consciousness. You must be able to walk through the world of Caesar, doing your daily chores, paying your bills, and talking to your friends, while simultaneously holding a secret reality within you. To the outer world, you may look like a person who is struggling with debt. You may look like a person who is lonely. But inwardly, you are walking through the halls of abundance. Inwardly, you are feeling the ring on your finger. You are ignoring the evidence of the senses. This does not mean you are delusional in a clinical sense. It means you are choosing which reality is superior. You recognize that the physical world is a delayed reflection, a dead star, while your imaginal world is the living cause. You treat the physical facts with a polite indifference. You do what is necessary, you wash the dishes, you go to work, but you do not give these facts your emotional allegiance. Your heart belongs to the wish fulfilled. This is what it means to be in the world, but not of it. You are physically present in the limitation, but spiritually present in the freedom. And because the spirit is the cause, the physical limitation must eventually dissolve and reshape itself to match the spiritual freedom. Consider the metaphor of the actor. An actor does not wait until opening night to become the character. He rehearses. He puts on the clothes of the character. He adopts the walk, the speech patterns, and the thoughts of the character long before the curtain rises. He lives in the end of the performance before the performance begins. You are the actor of your own life. If you want to be a successful entrepreneur, you cannot wait until the money is in the bank to feel successful. You must put on the mental suit of the entrepreneur now. How does that person walk? How do they speak? What is their inner monologue? They do not worry about survival, they think about expansion. They do not fear problems, they solve them. You must wear this state of consciousness until it fits you like a second skin. At first it may feel like a costume. You may feel like a fraud. This is natural. Do not be discouraged. Keep wearing it. Keep returning to the feeling. Eventually, the costume will become your uniform. The feeling will become natural. And the moment it becomes natural, the moment you forget you are acting, the manifestation will harden into fact. The world will begin to treat you as the person you have conceived yourself to be. People will respond to your new authority. Opportunities will resonate with your new frequency. You do not chase them, you attract them by virtue of who you have become. Living in the end is also the antidote to the poison of time. We are obsessed with time. We want things yesterday. But notice that urgency is always born of lack. You are urgent because you feel the absence of the thing. When you live in the end, time disappears. In your imagination, it is already now. There is no future to wait for because you have pulled the future into the present moment. This collapses the psychological distance. And paradoxically, when you stop waiting, the physical time lag shortens. The universe responds to certainty. It responds to the vacuum created by your expectancy. When you create a space of unconditional acceptance in your mind, the physical reality rushes to fill it. But you must hold the space. You cannot live in the end for 10 minutes in your morning meditation and then spend the rest of the day living in the lack. That is like building a house in the morning and tearing it down in the afternoon. You will never have a roof over your head. You must carry the scent of the wish fulfilled with you into the grocery store, into the traffic jam, into the argument. You must return to it again and again until it becomes your dwelling place. In my Father's house are many mansions. You must move into the mansion of your desire and sleep there. Do not just visit it as a guest. Make it your home. Let us address the bridge of incidents, which is the sequence of events that leads to the physical manifestation. When you live in the end, you trust the bridge. You do not know what the bridge will look like. It may look like a coincidence. It may look like a disaster. You might lose your job, which seems terrible, but that loss forces you to start the business that makes you millions. If you are living in the end, you will not panic when you lose the job. You will say, "This is part of the bridge. I don't know how, but I know the end is success, so this must be a step towards it." This is the ultimate freedom. You are released from the burden of judging every event as good or bad. You realize that every event is neutral until you assign it meaning. And because you are living in the end of success, you assign every event the meaning of success. You become an alchemist. You turn the lead of obstacles into the gold of opportunities simply by your assumption. You know that the end determines the means. If the destination is fixed, the road must lead there, no matter how winding it appears to be. Trust is the currency of the Sabbath. You must trust the unseen reality more than the seen. This is the definition of faith. Faith is the loyalty to the unseen reality. Can you remain loyal to your inner vision when the bank account says zero? Can you remain loyal to your health when the pain is still there? This is the fire that forges the spirit. It is easy to have faith when things are going well, but the master demonstrates faith when the walls are closing in. He closes his eyes to the walls and sees the open door. He refuses to accept the testimony of the senses, and because he refuses, the walls must fall. You are building a spiritual muscle. Every time you withdraw your attention from the problem and place it on the solution, you are strengthening your creative power. You are telling the universe, "I am the operant power. I am the one who decides what is real." And the universe bows to this authority. It has been waiting for you to take command. It has been waiting for you to stop begging and start decreeing. So, how do you navigate the delay? You navigate it with gratitude. Gratitude is the most effective way to live in the end. You cannot be grateful for something you do not have. Therefore, gratitude is the ultimate signal of reception. Thank you, Father. Repeat this. Feel it. Give thanks for your health before the medicine works. Give thanks for your wealth before the check arrives. This gratitude creates a magnetic field of joy that draws the manifestation to you with terrifying speed. It dissolves resistance. It melts the blocks of unworthiness. It aligns you with the source of all good. Walk through your day whispering, "Thank you." Thank the chair you sit on, thank the air you breathe, and thank the invisible desire that walks beside you. Live in a state of perpetual thanksgiving, and you will find that you have more and more to be thankful for. The mirror of life will reflect your gratitude back to you as blessings. Finally, remember that living in the end is a surrender to a higher wisdom. You are admitting that the little you, the ego, the intellect does not know the way. But the greater you, the imagination, the God self, knows the perfect way. When you rest in the Sabbath, you are handing the heavy lifting over to this greater self. You are taking the yoke off your own neck and placing it on the power that spins the galaxies. Why would you want to carry the burden when you have such a partner? Let go. Let God. This is not a cliche. It is a mechanical instruction for the use of your mind. Stop interfering with the machinery. You have planted the seed. You have watered it with faith. Now, let the sun and the soil do their work. The harvest is guaranteed. As we conclude this journey, I want you to feel the weight lifting off your shoulders. You do not need to fight. You do not need to struggle. You do not need to figure it all out. You only need to decide what you want. Dare to assume that you already have it, and then walk in the quiet confidence of that assumption. The world is yours. It is a playground of consciousness. You are the dreamer, and you are the dream. Wake up to your power. Step into the Sabbath. Rest in the deep, silent, knowing that it is done. And watch with wonder and joy as the invisible becomes visible, and the life you have imagined unfolds before your very eyes. Go now and walk as the person you were born to be. The end is not a destination, it is a beginning, and you are ready. Now, the seed has been planted. Do not let the noise of the world dig it up. If this message brought you peace, Share it with someone who is currently struggling in the quicksand of life. You might be the bridge to their freedom. And remember, this channel is your library of truth. Subscribe and turn on the bell so you never miss a lesson. Go now, enter the silence, and trust the process. I will see you in the next video.